Hey everyone, Josh Crowfoot here, Crowfoot Law Firm in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm a commercial real estate attorney. We're here in day 10 of Commercial Real Estate 101. And today we're going to be talking about tenant estoppel certificates. What's a tenant estoppel certificate? Well, if you're purchasing commercial real estate and there is a lease in place, in effect, okay, so you're buying property that already has a tenant that is generating income for you under a lease that encumbers the property. This is something that you're going to want to make sure you get as part of the closing process. A tenant estoppel certificate is prepared by the landlord and it is given to the tenant prior to closing, and the tenant is making certain representations, certain statements in the certificate, and the certificate is certifying those statements to the buyer, which is you who's buying the property, as well as the lender. All right, so any lender that might be providing financing to you to purchase the property. And what sorts of things do you want the tenant estoppel certificate to say? Well, at a very basic level, the tenant estoppel certificate is going to do a few things. One, it's going to state when the lease started. Okay, that allows you to calculate when the lease will end. If you want to be really clear, just put the start date and end date in there. It should state how much the rent is. So rather than rely on the lease, which may have been amended and the buyer's not aware of that, have the tenant tell you what his current rent is in the tenant estoppel certificate. That way you know exactly what it is, and it's coming from the tenant's mouth, not the landlord's. You want the certificate to also say that the landlord has not violated the lease. There are no existing violations of the lease. That's important because once you are the owner, you are the landlord, and you don't want the tenant coming after you for some mistake or omission that the landlord made when he was owning the property. You want the tenant to represent that they haven't violated the lease, that they're not aware of any violations. That way, if down the line there's some dispute, you have a right to go after them and recover damages. You want the property to be described very clearly so you know what you're buying. And you also want it to include any rights that the tenant might have, like an option to purchase the property if it's ever for sale, or a right to renew.